Ever since the rise of ISIS and its long list of terror attacks around the world, many countries have seen clashes between their Muslim and non-Muslim communities. My team has been wondering, how is the situation in Singapore? Are Singaporeans able to talk openly and kindly with each other on these hot-button issues? Together with the Thought Collective and the Harmony Centre, we invited strangers to help each other out by talking about this. In this video, they explore the question.
The issue of bonding is something that worries me a lot because we talk about the issue of vigilance and about the security and based on what Nazri shared, it reminds me of this one particular workshop which was attended by youth, both the Muslims and from other faith communities. There are also some free thinkers. So when we throw out a question to them like, what do you think we can do in this kind of situation? And it freaks me out when they say that, oh, we can wait for the government to instruct us. And I was like, what? I was like, what? No one says anything about friendship. I think that even before talking about vigilance or security, if you do not have that enough faith towards the person who sits beside you, regardless of their religion or their race, it doesn't work.
This was a case I heard of at another school. There was a game that was going on in which what was shown on screen was this game called Kahoots, in which so students could just put any kind of username as well in order to enter the game. And some student, right, out of sheer mischief, right, just wrote as Allahu Akbar. Okay, just wrote that. And so there was one Muslim student who was very offended, and then started, shouting. And apparently, a Malay Muslim teacher had to come in, and talk to the affected Muslim student, right? And the whole class had to be counseled. So it was a difficult situation that resulted from a certain level of ignorance about what words can do, and that there's certain words that can provoke or incite certain emotions. I think we definitely need greater education.
Speaking of education, I'm a firm believer of that. It's a long-term kind of program, but with very long-term gains as well. So at where I am, we teach a kind of great books course, and we read basically Analects, Confucius, Analects, and we read the Bible. And what I encounter, having taught this course now for 3 years, is how students coming from different perspectives come together with their own bias and prejudices. So we used to have the religious knowledge program.
That particular subject was taken out also because it was seen as divisive, and it was seen as promoting proselytization and various other effects that were detrimental to a secular society.
Well, education is important. Critical thinking is something that you can teach, but maybe the acceptance will not be very in-depth until the person reaches a certain age.
Embracing discussion.
Yeah, very open discussions and lower our inhibitions a little bit and don't feel pain so easily when people talk about certain things. And this teenager might just be at a place where he or she didn't know how to react, and the reaction that just tended to be an overblown one.
Starts with the family. So I guess that's where you model compassion and understanding and tolerance and whatnot. So when children see, oh, that's a normal thing, you develop your society from the smallest unit, and then it will be more organic in a sense, and be more embraced by your own self.
The problem with that is it's very hard to control what happens at home. People make jokes. Racist jokes, religious jokes. They don't mean it. They don't mean any harm, but the jokes are made in front of children who are very young and who don't really understand that it's just a joke. They take it seriously and they bring it back to school, and that information is spread. I think, as a mother myself, I need to be very wary of that.
My neighbors, right, are Malay Muslim. Every Hari Raya, right, my family and I will gift a hamper. Likewise, in fact, the Malay Muslim family will also gift a hamper every Chinese New Year. And it's almost, and this has been going on for years. when we see each other outside, at the corridor, it's about saying hi, getting to know their names. If not, it's always going to be, the Malay family next door, or the Chinese family or Indian family next door, rather than what's the name of the son again? It's like we have to get to know people as people.
Yeah. Sometimes the line is drawn between the religious and the non-religious, and I think we have to bring reason back into thinking about anything, okay? Because once we are not rational, we will make irrational choices, and that needs to be the basis. And for us, the atheists and the humanists, we think that human is divine, and this is the only life that we know. We should treat each other well and really maximize each other's happiness on this earth. Yeah.
At the moment, one of the small things that I've tried to do is to get some, YK is also involved a couple of times during the fasting month. That is not only to serve the Muslims, but also from friends from other faiths. We get them to be involved in either in helping in the kitchen or serving the food.
Having participated in, at all the Harmony Center activities, I must say that the practice of fasting together really fosters a sense of togetherness, and to do that collectively and to understand the basis behind it of sympathizing with the poor, of knowing what it means to be thirsty or hungry. Such a beautiful experience.
Yes, compassion.
Definitely.
I actually do have a few friends who do fast every year, the entire 30 days. Non-Muslim friends. Yeah, because they find the idea of fasting really inspiring.
Here in Singapore, people don't talk to each other. So what I would try to do myself is to challenge myself and get to know at least one person, a stranger a day maybe, and with the end goal of trying to do something kind.
I realized that we have all these community self-help groups which are very community specific. I was listening down and thinking why isn't this the rest of our problem? Why must it be the Muslim community needs to uplift the Muslim youth? What about all of us? But there's this assumption that that only Malay Muslims should help Malay Muslims, and then the rest of us just take care of our own communities. And maybe that is a narrative that needs to change.
Certainly, that's a very good point. I can go radical and say that maybe the problem is the self-help groups themselves, that they exist, and maybe that's a conversation that we need to have, as to maybe dispensing social aid in a different way, so as to foster greater,
in a more multicultural sense.
Yeah, in a more multicultural sense, looking at things that do not divide ourselves when we think we are being, inclusive, right?
I remember there was one ministerial dialogue in which the minister did mention that there's something about self-help groups that still have a place in today's society. The way you justified it was that it's a lot easier to get volunteers who are willing to, for example, tutor a child of their own race. Statistically speaking, that is the supposed justification. Right. So maybe these are issues that deserve exploring, whether this is still true.
Yeah, I definitely share all of the hopes you guys brought up. There's going to be some essential differences between different faith communities that is just not going to be compromised on. But even in that difference, is it possible to see that we are the same? We are right, we share that same identity as human being, and I just hope that we can hold on to that story, that we are just better together than apart. Yeah, we're always better together.
If you're curious to meet up with other Muslims and non-Muslims to find out about their perspectives on these issues over dinner, please click the link below and sign up for one of our public dinners.